These recently went on sale during Black Friday and it was absolutely crazy deal. They were like 40 or 50% off. I can't exactly remember. So it was the perfect time to experiment with some anamorphic footage. These are the Blazar Anamorphics, also known as Greyjoy. I've been using the 35 and the 50, but I haven't had a chance to get my hands on the 85 yet. 35 is the widest out of the set, and on my FX3, when you de-squeeze the image, it is wide. It comes out to about a 26mm equivalent. I found this lens to be really good for handheld work, and because it's a wider lens, you're not getting a crazy amount of bokeh unless you're really close to your subject, which anamorphics typically struggle with anyways. I found that the 35 is actually pretty hard to get it to flare, which I'm okay with because I'm not always a big fan of crazy lens flares happening all the time. I think it can be overdone and somewhat distracting to your viewer. The 50's been a sweet spot for me. Out of the two, this one's definitely my favorite, with a few gripes which I'll touch on later. One of the things I really like about shooting anamorphics is you get similar depth of field characteristics on a longer focal length, but with a wider field of view. The lenses are pretty small as far as anamorphics go, so you can easily pop them on something like an FX3 and just throw it in a small camera bag like a nomadic sling and just take it with you and just walk around and shoot, which is something that I love to do. As soon as I got them, I took them on a trip with me to New Orleans and just tried to shoot as much as I could during the day, and I even ended up filming my friend's wedding on it. I didn't bring a monitor with me because I wanted to pack as light as possible, which made it pretty difficult to focus just off the back of the FX3 screen, and the lens has a really long focus throw to begin with. So I did two things to help me out when shooting with just this super small setup. One thing I did was I had guideline markers set for a 4x3 frame, so when you de-squeeze this to a 239 timeline, you actually get a pretty good idea of what you'll see in your shot when it's de-squeezed. And the other thing I did was set a custom button on the back of my screen to 4 times magnify as soon as I hit it. So I would just tap the button, zoom in as much as I could, and grab focus. The image is really nice and you get a decent amount of this waterfall effect in the out of focus elements in the background, but it's not overly dramatic, so this actually lets you be able to use them for client work depending on the project, which is something cool. You're not really limited to finding that special job where you can use this crazy, bloomy, dreamy like lens. It just gives your footage a different look than shooting on spherical, which is something that I've really been enjoying. Everyone always talks about how gear doesn't matter and gear acquisition syndrome and all of these things, but I do think there is something to be said for when a new piece of equipment makes you excited to shoot. And that's what these lenses have done for me. They make me excited to just pick my camera up and go out and shoot, which after you've been shooting for a while, the excitement to go out and just film something random can kind of go away. So it's nice to have something that just makes you want to get out there and just like film something random. The lenses are decently sharp as far as anamorphics go, and I actually kind of prefer a sharper lens. You can always, add a Pro Mist filter or black satin or use something like scatter to make it a little bit softer in post if you really wanted to bloom the highlights or something. But in my opinion, all of that's kind of overdone at the moment anyways, and I kind of lean towards a more sharper image. One gripe I had while using the 50mm is that the squeeze factor actually changes when you're at minimum focus, and it changes to something like 1.6 times or something. So if you have a bunch of shots that are close focus and then at farther focus, you have to go back and manually adjust each close focus one. And sometimes you kind of just have to do it by like what looks natural to you and what you were seeing on the day, which again, this isn't a huge deal, but I did find it somewhat annoying and I wish it was something that they would fix. So yeah, if you want to get started with anamorphic and you don't want to break the bank and you're looking at a bunch of different budget options, I definitely recommend these. I've had a great time shooting with them, and I'm going to continue to use them on personal projects and hopefully get to use them on some client work. And thanks for checking out the video. I really do think these are some great lenses. I'll have some more videos coming out soon, so make sure to subscribe. And I'm actually doing a competition with my friend where the first one to miss an upload by a certain date loses. But we haven't figured out what the loser has to do yet, so if you have an idea, drop it in the comments below and I'll let you know what we end up deciding on. And thanks for watching.